In this video, are we currently seeing a potential Bitcoin rebound? At the same time, for the long term, we are seeing a much bigger bearish sign. Well, stay tuned to know more. So hi guys, and welcome back to another Gab's cryptocurrency video where we trade by data and not by hype. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, click the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell so you won't miss out videos like this. So yeah, let's now dive into this video and let's talk about two things now which I wanted to discuss. So right now there are mainly two things which I wanted to discuss. Number one is the potential Bitcoin rebound for the short term, which we are going to dive in the 4-hour time frame. But at the same time, we're also going to look at the Bitcoin fear and greed index, because right now this is hinting a potential major bearish sign for the long-term price action. So with that being said, let's now dive in first with the Bitcoin for the very short term first. So yeah, let's give you a quick recap first for the Bitcoin price action. So in our previous video, we mentioned that we have been seeing a 4-hour time frame bearish divergence, and then we saw that bearish divergence playing out. In fact, that happened after the Fed rate cuts. Everyone was saying that we were going to a 130k Bitcoin bullish price action. However, what I have been telling everyone na, I don't believe that's going to be the case always, because usually those type of movements would only take into effect for the short term, but when it comes to the long term market structure, it's not going to make any significant effect. So as you can see, despite of those bullish news, we did not see Bitcoin go to 130k. Rather, we saw a minor consolidation first, and then we quickly went to follow this indicator that we have mentioned in the previous videos. And then after that, I've mentioned to you guys that we have been seeing a potential consolidation area dito, and at the same time we are seeing a lot of potential move na ngayon for the Bitcoin price action. So with that being said, what is the next move for the Bitcoin price action? So in my Instagram channel, if you have been following my Instagram channel, you would have noticed that I have mentioned that we have been seeing a potential hourly time frame bullish divergence which has started forming, and you would find that it is forming in both in the hourly as well as in the 4-hour time frame. Now, looking at this Bitcoin price action, you would find that we are now forming a 4-hour time frame bullish divergence, wherein usually bullish divergence is a trend reversal indicator. However, if you are going to compare this 4-hour time frame bullish divergence, sorry, that's my messenger. I am getting some bit of a notifications. But yeah, going back, if you're going to compare the previous divergence that we saw with the Bitcoin price action, we saw a much bigger divergence. We saw a much bigger bearish divergence in the 4-hour time frame a few weeks ago. And if you're going to compare this with the current divergence, it's not as big as the one that we have seen in the previous divergence. So in that case, I don't expect this bullish divergence to take into a massive effect. So what I think that's going to happen here is Bitcoin is going to go back around the 113,000 US dollars, 113 to 113,400, and right now it's going to see a potential resistance around that area. So in that case, what is our trading strategy for this Bitcoin price action? So right now, while we are seeing a bullish divergence in the 4-hour time frame, but it's not as big as the one that we have seen in the previous movements. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to partially open a long position temporarily here. Then I would set a target around the 113,200 US dollars, so that if ever we have reached that area, we can take profit. But at the same time, since you can see that this is a much smaller bullish divergence, in case that we see a bullish breakout with 4-hour candle close above the resistance, then we are going to add in to our long position. We are going to add more money to our long position. Then only then we can target maybe around this target, around the 114,700 US dollars. We can target that area if in this case we saw a movement to that area. However, since this is not a much however this since this is not a big bullish divergence, I'm not expecting this to go up much more significantly. So what I'm expecting right now is somewhat for this to get a rejection, then further consolidate here. Then in that case, if this consolidated further, and then if let's say this continued the bullish divergence, then we can open more long positions around the 111,400. That is a good area for us to open a long position. So in this case, if we see a Bitcoin rebound, then we can take advantage the 113,200 more, because you would find if you have opened a long position around this area, we would be able to target around the 113,200, and that would indicate that we would have potentially gain around 1.48% of profit. If you are going to trade this with 50x leverage, that would indicate that you have already gained 74% of profit already. Now, that is what we are currently seeing for the short term. So right now we have to monitor the 4 hour time frame. At the same time, we have to monitor the 113,400. But right now, this is the next thing which I wanted to show you guys, which is in a much bigger time frame. Because if you're going to zoom out, maybe let's use this other chart. Because right now, with the current Bitcoin price action that we have been seeing, recently we have been seeing Bitcoin forming those trends of higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, then as well as higher highs, and then higher highs. However, with the recent Bitcoin movement, you would find that we have started forming a much lower low and a much lower high. So that has indicated that we have started breaking the uptrend, the Bitcoin uptrend. And then if you're also going to look at this maybe in the weekly time frame, and if you're going to open the weekly time frame and open the 50-week moving average, you would find that right now we are about to enter into the up to the support area that which have been holding this Bitcoin bull market. So right now it's a big retest for the Bitcoin price action, and if this holds, then right now it's very crucial for Bitcoin to hold this 50-week moving average. But at the same time, this is what I wanted to show you guys, which is the fear and greed index. And this is a very crucial thing to discuss right now, because what I'm about to show you is something that we have to worry with the Bitcoin price action. So for those who don't know, the Bitcoin fear and greed index is actually a good way of determining the market sentiment. If the whole market sentiment is fearful, or if the whole market sentiment is very, very greedy. So typically, whenever the market is greedy, you should be selling or shorting when the market is greedy. And whenever that the market is fearful, that's when you should be buying. And it is usually determined by this fear and greed index. Usually you would want to buy whenever the fear and greed index is below 30 or below 20. That would be the best time to buy Bitcoin, but the best time to sell Bitcoin would be whenever the fear and greed index is above 70 or above 80. However, if you're going to look at the historical fear and greed index, I think the best scenario that we can follow here is the 2021 movement. So if you would look at the January 2021 movement, the fear and greed index for Bitcoin was around 93 index, and that was January 2021. If you're going to look at the charts, Bitcoin back in January 2021 was around, let's try to look at this, January 2021, which was around this area. You would find January 2021 was around the 43,000 to the 56,000 US dollar level. So during that time, we saw a Bitcoin all-time high. And then if you're going to look at this, you would see that Bitcoin saw a massive decline. And then after that, we saw a rebound. However, if you can look at this, if you would look at this chart, you would find that the fear and greed index for this current price action is much lower than the previous high. So that has indicated a much lower fear and greed index. But if you're going to look at the charts, we saw Bitcoin formed a new all-time high around the October to November price action, which is the similar time wherein you are going to look at this October to November. That has also shown another peak for the Bitcoin fear and greed index. Now there is one crucial thing that you have to watch out here, which is this declining peak of the fear and greed index. And if you're going to look at the RSI for the Bitcoin price action, whenever that we are seeing a declining Bitcoin RSI while Bitcoin price is increasing, those are traditional signs of a bearish divergence or a weakening strength of the specific coin. So right now we have been seeing that similar fear and greed index in the past. Right now, this is what I want to show you guys for the current price action. If you are going to look at the 1 year Bitcoin data starting from October 2024 up until today, September 2025, you would find that the fear and greed index has been consistently declining ever since November 2024 up until today. So you would find that the Bitcoin fear and greed index peak has been declining altogether with this Bitcoin RSI in the weekly time frame. So right now we are seeing not only one warning signs but two major warning signs that we are potentially seeing a potential bear market within the next few months. Now take note, I don't expect this bear market to happen overnight or within the next few weeks because of course those because we of course we have those short-term market intra-cycle volatility. So I don't expect a bear market within the next few days. Rather, this is for the macro time frame. So I am expecting a much longer or a much bigger bear market within the next few months. Maybe it will happen around January or maybe it will happen around February or March. We don't know yet, but right now we are seeing a lot of early signs. So does this mean we are going to see a bear market within the month of November, December, and October? Well, right now, we don't want to jump into conclusions yet because number one, the month of October to December has always been a good time for a Bitcoin profit because usually the month of October to December, we usually Bitcoin go up during the month of October to December. So historically speaking, the month of October to December is usually a good time for rebound with the Bitcoin price action. So right now, we are going to monitor closely within the next few weeks and next few months on how it's going to play out within the month of October to December. However, despite of the historical price actions that is hinting that October to December is going to be a good month, right now we are seeing warning signs as well in the fear and greed index as well as in the Bitcoin weekly RSI. So we are going to monitor those things closely before we jump into a big trade or before we jump into a new investment. So guys, make sure to follow my YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below so you won't miss out my next analysis. So I think that's all guys. And I'm not sure if you noticed, but right now I'm trying to speak in a full English video because there are some viewers who are requesting for a full English video because of course, if you recall in our previous video, what we have been doing is we have been using English and Tagalog language, and unfortunately for our foreign viewers, they also want to catch up with our analysis. So as much as possible, I will do my best to cater to our foreign followers and to our foreign viewers, and I hope that we reach more viewers within the next few weeks, next few months. And I also hope that our crypto channel grows within the next few months. So I guess that's all for now. If you like this video, I hope you give this video a like and hit the subscribe button down below so you won't miss out our next videos. Bye bye for now.